Okay guys, I want to talk to you about a thumbs forward grip. And what we'll do is we'll show every single weapon clear here before we demonstrate. Here's a Glock 20 Gen 4 10mm, and this is clear. Okay, what they say now about the thumbs forward grip, the traditional one, is they say that if you go like this, that it'll prevent the gun from going this direction, and that might be true. But also they say thumbs forward grip is what competition shooters use to shoot a lot. But we're not talking about competition shooting now. We're talking about combat and saving your life. If something should happen where you draw your pistol, where you have a good solid grip, and that starts with a grip like this coming out of the holster. And that's one of the reasons I believe in a grip like this. And one of the reasons why leftover right thumb is because you don't have to break your grip coming out of the holster. I can come out of the holster like this. All I have to do is use my left hand to support it. And it has just as much pressure, and it keeps the gun from going this way. Because their argument is they're saying that if you don't do this, that the gun's going to go this direction. Which isn't true at all, because if you have a good grip on the gun like this with your thumb on your middle finger and your left thumb over the right thumb, nothing's going to go wrong. Also, it's not going to hit the slide, or it's not going to hit the mag release either, because you have a strong grip. So that's not an issue either. Now the issue is sometimes with the traditional thumbs forward grip like this, it could be a problem for a couple things. If you're the type that rides the slide, which some people can do it, and they don't have any failures by doing it this way, where they touch the slide with the left thumb to keep the gun, more straight. Some people will do this, some will do this. Now there are times when somebody could, in an emergency situation, where you could have your thumb too hard on that slide there, and that can create a malfunction, which is why this way guarantees that there isn't going to be a malfunction in an adrenaline-filled situation. So once again, we're not talking about competition shooting or anything like that. We're talking about saving your life. As far as coming out of the holster, you don't want to be breaking your grip like this coming out of the holster, because you might not have time to do that pretty little puzzle right there. And doing that puzzle isn't always going to meet up the same place every single time. Sometimes your thumb will be this way, sometimes it'll be here, sometimes it'll be there. And especially in an adrenaline-filled situation, the best way to come out of the holster is like this, because this grip never changes. It's always going to be the same. So that if you have to fire one hand and you don't have enough time for the left hand, the right hand doesn't have to wait for the left hand. I already have a good firing grip, so I can pull the trigger and punch out. I don't have to wait for the left hand if I don't have enough time. So this whole thing of breaking your grip like this, coming in like this, it's fine, but the problem with it is close quarters. If you ever have to grab somebody by the hand, see, you have to grab somebody, or you're in a struggle or something like that, you're not going to be coming back like this and having your thumb up like this while you're in a fight for that pistol. You're going to want it like this, so you have a good strong grip on the gun. So I'm going to show you a few pistols here of this method right here that I think is better. And this is the Israeli method also. The Israelis use this method right here. I'm going to show you this method, then I'm going to show you the traditional thumbs forward and how it can be a problem with some things. Notice that my right thumb could also hit the slide stop, slide release. Now on these Glocks, sometimes people will install the extended, which is more bumpy right here. So if I'm in an emergency and adrenaline-filled situation, my right thumb could actually hit that. It might not do it in competition, it might not do it in practice and drills, but when you get an adrenaline-filled situation where you're holding on to the gun like this real tight, you might hit that slide stop, slide release, and you might hang up the slide. So once again, this method here guarantees your thumb into your middle finger guarantees that you're not going to have any problems up in this area right here. Now, there is some people that made a point about hitting the slide or the mag release right here, but as long as your thumb is touching your middle finger, there shouldn't be any problem with that. Now, there may be some guns where there could be an issue with that, and I understand that, but I'm just saying this is the best grip right here. This is the best grip to prevent the three problems that could happen up here. One is riding the slide, stopping the slide, creating a malfunction, or failure to eject or feed or something like that. So you got the slide. The second thing is you have the slide stop right here. And on some guns, safeties, you can flip on and off safeties right here by having this thumb forward grip instead of this one. So this one takes away all the chances of you putting your gun out of order as far as being in an emergency and having a combat situation. Once again, this isn't competition shooting or anything like that. I'm not saying that you can't shoot like this in competition. I'm just saying that in an adrenaline-filled situation where you're coming out of the holster, you want a strong grip and you want to hold the gun like this. Okay, that's a good defensive hold for a firearm. Because if I can't use this left hand, my right hand, see, nothing's changed. It came out of the grip came out of the holster this way with the same grip. And this goes with a lot of firearms, and I'll show you a lot of them here. How that's true. I'll show you the good and the bad. The good meaning your left thumb over your right thumb like this, and the bad being your right thumb over your left. So your left over your right is better than your right over your left thumb. So I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so the Glock 20, we've already seen that. Now we're going to move to some small guns like a revolver. Okay, this one, same thing. If I've got a grip like this and I do thumbs forward, look at what's happening. I could stop that cylinder. Okay, another thing is I could get burned from the forcing cone right here into my thumb. So holding it like this, I don't have as strong of a grip right here because it's open, and I can't do the piece of the puzzle because my palm isn't going to fit in there. It's too small of a firearm. But notice if I go like this, I've got a lot of strength holding on to this, so I can't be disarmed as easy with this revolver. Now with the revolver, left over right thumb going like this, it is a very, very strong grip. But sometimes because of the bore access, because the bore is much higher than your hand, sometimes what you have to do, like 357 Magnum, like this is a 22 Magnum for instance, you might want to bring over your left thumb here over your hand so that you can help with that recoil. So you might have to modify your grip for some guns, and that's understandable. I understand some guns need a modified grip. So there's that revolver. Let's go to the Ruger LCP here. The Ruger LCP is truly a good test for this because it's very tiny and it doesn't have much as far as grip. So we're going to look at the Ruger LCP here. Okay, this one has been cleared. Once again, if I'm coming out of my holster like this, thumbs forward grip, the traditional type, and I go like this, notice a couple things could happen. One of them is I could have my thumb on the slide and not know it because of the adrenaline of trying to do that piece of the puzzle. Notice that the piece of the puzzle doesn't work here because there's not enough clearance for my palm to fit inside there. So struggling to get your palm set up inside here is not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is drop your thumb down, take your pinky, put it on the bottom of the magazine, and that'll prevent the magazine release from being hit. So you tuck your pinky under here and then you go like this. And I can be really fast like this. It's a lot faster than doing this. It's a lot faster going like this. Once again, this isn't competition shooting. This isn't speed shooting by any means. This is saving your life, coming out of the holster, having a strong grip like this should something happen to the left hand. In an adrenaline-filled situation, the right hand is not going to wait for the left. The right hand wants to come out of the holster, wants to grip, and wants to go forward. So if you're trying to struggle like this going forward, notice that there's a weakness in here. Somebody could grab that gun and take it away from you. Close quarters combat. I'm talking about close quarters combat now. I'm not talking about 25, 30, 40 yards. But when people say that this grip is better because it doesn't allow the muzzle to go this way, the thing you have to understand is that this way the muzzle isn't going to go that way either. So as long as you have a strong thumb on your middle finger there, and then your left thumb covering it up like this, and the left thumb will not get caught in the trigger guard because you're tucking down on the right thumb. So if you're going something like this, well, of course it's going to get in there. So you want it like this. So there's the Ruger LCP. You can see that the one-handed grip without changing is the best method there. Let's look at this one here. This is a Burrs of Thunder. We'll take a look at her real quick. She's all cleared. And we'll decocker here. Okay, so the Burrs of Thunder coming out like this. Traditional thumbs forward grip. Notice a few things. Number one, I could stop the slide from working by going like this if I get too close. Number two, I can accidentally hit the slide stop, slide release. Number three, I could accidentally hit this when the slide is reciprocating. I could accidentally put it on decock. So the best way to do this is with the thumb into the middle finger. And notice that the the magazine release right here, it's not going to be a problem with my thumb being in the way. So once again, I can come out like this, and I've got a good strong combat grip. Should somebody try to grab this firearm before I get that grip. So if you're in a puzzle, it's much weaker to do the puzzle thing like this than it is to do this coming out of the holster. So it's just physics, because if I have a strong grip like this and I put my thumb up, the stronger grip is always going to be that thumb coming down on that finger right there, the middle finger. So the thumb on the middle finger. And notice how easy it is. I can just press in like this, see? But I can't go like this, because when you go like this, your thumbs are always going to be in different places every time you do it, especially in an adrenaline-filled situation where your life is at stake. Okay, it might be like this, it might be like this, it might be like this. Whereas this, I know that my thumb is resting very, very strong on my middle finger, that these two work together to have a strong grip. And I can just go like this. So the Burrs of Thunder right there. So let me show you a Beretta. Okay, Beretta. Here's a Beretta, and this weapon has been cleared. Beretta 22, by the way. So we'll decock this. Okay, notice on the Beretta here, when I'm coming out with the traditional thumbs forward grip, once again, I could stop that slide if my thumb is too far this way, okay? Another thing is my thumb can hit the slide stop, slide release. Another thing is my thumb could hit the safety as it's reciprocating. I could accidentally kick it into decock or safe mode. Now there is an issue sometimes with your thumb being on your middle finger with, you can see right here, the magazine release right there button. But once again, if you have a strong thumb on a middle finger, that shouldn't be an issue. And when you're up here, I do notice that, yes, it does seem like it's better because of the fact that you won't accidentally hit the mag release. But the thing is that this way, even though there's some situations where this would be okay, you have to understand that this way is always going to be much better because your thumb is locked into your middle finger. So I've tried this many times and I've never hit the mag release at all. So it hasn't been a problem for me. So once again, you're like this, punching out. If something should happen to my left hand again, once again, I'm coming out like this and firing. I don't have to worry about holding my thumb like this. somebody tries to take the weapon, okay, my thumb flips up and puts it on decock or something like that. I don't have to worry about that because I have a very, very strong grip on the firearm here. So there's the Beretta 22. Now let's go to the Ruger. This is a Ruger American 45 ACP Pro, fully ambidextrous slide stop, slide release, fully ambidextrous mag release here. So everything about this gun is full ambi pretty much. But the thing I wanted to tell you with this one too is that your thumb's forward grip right here on this one, notice that I could still hit the mag. I could still hit the slide stop, slide release right here if I have a thumb's forward grip like this rather than like this. And then once again, when you're going thumbs forward like this, once again you could touch the slide and prevent that slide from coming back or going forward in an emergency. So this is really clumsy right here, that it doesn't fit. People say, oh, you just fit right inside there, it fits perfectly. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all, because every pistol there's going to be different gaps in here. So it's better if you have a strong grip where that thumb is on the middle finger right here. Now, as you can see, it's ambi mag release and ambi slide stop, slide release here. But the thing is that with this here, notice that my thumb is close to that, so that could be an issue for some people, hitting that, and I understand that. That has happened. Seen a couple guys with 9mm that dropped it here, and on the other side here too. So it depends on your grip, but still, this is a better grip right here coming out of the holster because of the fact that you have a good strong hand on it should this left hand have to do something else. So there's the Ruger American 45 ACP. And let's go to the Smith & Wesson SD40 VE. This is kind of like your Glock 19 in a way. So on this one, notice that if I use a traditional thumbs forward grip, notice that my finger, or my thumb, my right thumb, is by the slide stop, slide release, okay? And once again, if you're in an adrenaline-filled situation, you might have your thumb too far up here rather than down here. And they do give you a nice little pad, I understand that. But in an emergency, you might not use that pad. You might be up here because of the adrenaline of trying to piece that puzzle together. So if your thumb is on your middle finger here and your palm is right here, you're all ready to go. See, you don't have to fit the puzzle. You don't have to do the puzzle piece thing. So strong grip coming out. So whether I have a hand to support this or not, I still have a good fighting grip, and I'm ready to use it as a weapon to conk somebody with, or to punch out and fire a round. If I'm empty on ammo, I have a very strong grip here. But if I'm like this, somebody could take that weapon from me, because this is stronger than this. So when you come out of the holster, you never want to change your grip. Even if the left hand comes, you never want to change that grip. You want to have the same grip all the time. As soon as that gun comes out, until it gets back into the holster, you want to have the same grip. The only exception is hitting the mag release. You might have to move your hand a little bit for that, and I understand that. That's why pistols that have a good mag release where your thumb can hit it, where you don't have to break your grip to hit it, that's why them type of pistols are really nice to have. So SD40 VE, let's go on to, this is a Taurus G2C, Taurus G2C 9mm. So we'll do this here, and on this one here, it ain't going to be a problem for the magazine release here when I'm doing it this way. But notice when I'm doing it this way now they do give you a pad to put your thumb, but like I'm saying, you could be up here in an adrenaline-filled situation where you stop it from going forward or backward. Another thing we're noticing is that two things. We're noticing that the thumb is up on the safety, and the thumb is by the slide stop, slide release right here. So this way right here is much worse for this firearm, because if somebody tries to grab it, your thumb could go in and hit that slide stop slide release, even though you're not going to hit it when you're just shooting like at a range or something like that. Like I said, this has nothing to do with competition shooting or the range. This is real life situations, life and death, where you have to practice certain methods of holding your firearm and having your grip set so that that firearm can't be taken from you, or it can't be taken out of battery. And it's much harder to take a gun out of battery that's like this than like this. This is easier to take a gun out of battery. Whereas this right here, you have too much support. This way here, they could hook on this thumb, they could hook on this thumb, and they could rip that firearm right out of your hand. Whereas this way is much stronger. So there's no need for me to do the puzzle. I can just go like this. If my left hand is behind in adrenaline and it's not there, I can just punch out with my right hand and get the job done. I don't have to wait for this pretty puzzle. Your right hand is not going to wait for your left hand in a dangerous situation. That's why you want to be out of the holster like this, rather than like this, finding out that this hand gets taken out of action. Well, now you're like this with your thumb here. Look at that. See? That's why this method is better. A lot of the Israelis, you know, we don't give the Israelis credit. We think they're dumb a lot, you know, and it's very unfair for us to think that about them. The IDF and stuff have been in more shootouts and more combat situations in their streets than we have in America, as far as law enforcement and stuff like that. So when they train people, what they do is they find out where they make mistakes, and when they find out that a mistake has been made, they correct it right away. And that's why, one of the reasons why they do this kind of a grip is because they know that there's problems with this American style thumbs forward grip, and they've seen it and they've witnessed it, and they've had malfunctions, and even in live combat and live situations, they've noticed problems, and they remedied the situation by teaching another way. And the way is having a good grip like this out of the holster, a single hand grip, not something like this. So anyway, and once again, I'm not saying that if you're a competition shooter or you're doing fun on the range, yeah, go like this, you know, maybe it is a little bit more accurate for you, but I'm talking about close-up personal combat where you could lose retention of your firearm, where your grip is broken even before the left hand meets it. Whereas this way, your grip is not broken before your left hand meets it because it's right here. Okay? So, there, the Taurus G2C. And give me a couple seconds here. I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you one or two more here. We got FEG 32. This is a police model here. And this police model is kind of slick as far as the slide. It's kind of slick in this area, but we'll show that it's clear here. This weapon has been cleared. So I want to show you this one here. Okay, so this one here, you're coming out of the holster and your thumb is on your middle finger, okay? If I'm like this, notice what that looks like here, okay? Now notice the thumb's forward grip. Notice that the thumb's forward grip, I'm actually putting my thumb on the slide here because there is no little pad like you see on the Smith & Wesson the Smith & Wesson SD40VE. There is no pad, just like the Taurus, the same thing has that pad there. There is no pad, so when you're going a thumbs forward grip like this, you might have a tendency to put your thumb right on that slide, preventing it from going forward or backward, causing the gun to go out of battery or have a malfunction. And then notice my thumb right here could do something with the safety decocker here, hitting that. So once again, we want to have this kind of a grip right here so we can come out. If my hand should be in some trouble with this one where I'm having to do something, notice that my grip never changed since I had it out of the holster. Whereas I'm expecting that I'll have enough time to get a grip and I'm going in like this for the traditional thumbs forward grip, and something happens where I need my hand now, look at my thumb. What is it doing up here when it could be like this out of the holster and always be like this during the whole event that I need to for the combat situation saving my life? So I can just go like this, and I've always got one hand. The right hand doesn't have to wait for the left hand. If something should happen to this hand, I can still punch out and fire. If something should happen to this hand and I'm like this, now I have to take my thumb down, which is an extra step. So that's what I'm saying. This is much, much better of a grip. So we got that. Now let's look at the Browning camper. This is a Browning Buckmark Camper 22, and this weapon has been cleared. Okay, the Browning Buckmark 22. And the problem with this one too is the thing is you know, when you come out of your holster, of course you're going to have the thumb because you have to thumb off the safety in order to fire it. Now let's look at the traditional thumbs forward grip right here. Notice that traditional thumbs forward grip, there's not going to be any problem for the left thumb because the only part that reciprocates is from here to here. So that's not going to be a problem for support. I can be like that, but still the traditional thumbs forward grip is not the best for even this pistol. Why? Because my finger is by the safety and it could pop it up and put it on safe. It's on fire right now. Okay. Or the slide stop slide release right here because it's really sticking out there. Notice that my thumb right here in an adrenaline filled situation, I could possibly hit that thing, or this thumb right here. Whereas if I just go like this and punch out, I've got it all under control. So once again, the argument they say is for the traditional thumbs forward grip is they say that this finger will make it so that the gun won't go this way, that it won't go to the left. But that's not, and that might be true, but the thing is that doesn't mean that this way that the barrel's going to point this direction, because if you have a good thumb over middle finger grip and you have the support hand here, okay, you can handle the weapon like this. It's not going to go this way, it's not going to go this way if you have a good grip. And this is the same kind of nutcracker grip, they say, like a nutcracker, you know, for the Brazil nuts and Christmas that you use. It's the same thing, okay? You have the same kind of thing with this as you do with this, but the problem is the thumbs. And even though somebody says, well, what I would do is I'd keep my thumb out here. Well, in an adrenaline filled situation, you probably won't. You're probably going to be like that because you're going to be gripping really hard on this thing in an actual situation. So you're going to be hitting things here that are going to take the gun out of battery. Or on the other guns, like I was saying, you're going to have your thumb up too high and you're going to cause the slide from going backward or forward, putting it out of battery or causing a malfunction. So these are the reasons why I think that the Israelis were right about that grip, and the fact that it's different because it is combat and it is saving your life. There's a difference between competition shooting that has no consequences and real shooting that has consequences. If you should hit your slide release or slide stop slide release or your safety or your mag release prematurely, okay, there's consequences for that. And in competition shooting, you don't have to worry about consequences if you mess up because you're not going to get killed. But in real combat, you don't ever want them things to happen. So in order to stop any of them things from happening, first of all, you want to come out of your holster like this so that even before you meet the left hand, that if something should happen with this left hand where you need it, or somebody won't let you bring that nice little pretty puzzle over, you know, that puzzle piece, that way you're ensured that you have a strong one-handed grip and you can punch out and you don't have to wait for this hand. You can just use this, you can use your right hand, okay? So that's one of the reasons, or a lot of reasons why you don't want to be like this. You want to be like this. So anyway, I showed you all these guns, and it proves that that left thumb, okay, that left thumb that's underneath that wants to be like this, and the right thumb that's over the left thumb could cause problems with the slide catch, or the slide stop, slide release, and the safety. You know, there's a lot more that can go wrong here, and you don't want any problems when you're in a real situation. When you're in an adrenaline-filled situation, you're going to be more clumsy than if you are on the range or competition shooting. That's what competition shooters just don't understand, is the fact that in competition, you're going to have problems that have no consequences. One example is not ripping out the mag and just letting the mag free fall like this, and you're going over to reach. You're going over to reach for your second magazine when you're hitting this here. But the problem with that is if that magazine doesn't come out, you have to rip it out. So now here you are holding it like this, like you should, with your index finger on that first round, getting ready to insert the magazine. But now I have a magazine that's not coming out because I reached for this with my left hand first. So now I'm trying to insert something while something hadn't been ejected yet. So now I have to take the magazine, I have to move it like this, and then I have to grab with my index finger and thumb and rip that magazine out, okay? So that's a lot different. You know, at competition shooting, if you hit this and nothing happens, you know, let's pretend there's a magazine in here. You hit that, nothing's happening. Competition shooting. And you already have this in your hand, this magazine, and you're feeling for that first round. You know, if this doesn't come out and you take too long with this, there is no consequence for you because it's not a real live situation. That's why there's so many differences in competition shooting, in defense shooting, in combat shooting. There are so many differences. It's unbelievable. I could go through tons and tons and lists of it. So the problem is that everybody's lumping everything in for defensive shooting with law enforcement, competition shooting, military, and all that, when there are differences between even those. And even what the private citizen goes through as far as a defensive situation is much different than a police officer or somebody that's in the military or even gang members. It's different. So we have to understand that there's a lot of differences. And when it comes to defensive shooting and saving your life, what we want to do is we want to do the best thing we can to keep the firearm in action, even if it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes that saves in the long run. Like for instance, if we take a little bit longer and we're here and we pull that magazine out like that, then go for the other magazine. What that does is that ensures that should something happen, that we're already there, we can pull that mag out. So even though this way is faster, but it's faster only if you don't have a malfunction here. So it's only faster if there's no consequences, is what I'm saying. So there's no consequences because you're coming like this, the mag won't come out, and you have to move this mag around to pull it out. Well, there's no consequences for that if you're competition shooting and stuff like that. But in a defense situation, you know, it's going to take you a little bit longer to do it the right way, and you're not going to be as fast, but you are going to be faster in a sense as far as not being stuck where you have a magazine that won't come out and fumbling around. So this would actually take you longer. This would actually take you longer than hitting the mag release and being there right now and then going for your magazine, okay? So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the speed thing. The whole speed thing is like this. Just because you're faster, it doesn't mean that it's going to be better. It's like a hamster on a wheel. He can run fast on the wheel, but he doesn't go anywhere. And that's what this is here when you can't get that mag out. You're fast, yeah, but you're on a hamster wheel going nowhere because now you have to move the magazine to rip that other one out. Whereas if you just did this, way right here and be there just in case it doesn't drop free, and rip it out, then you can go for your mag and you're right here. So essentially this way is faster, even though this way is faster in the sense of should you have a malfunction, but slower in the sense of if you're a competition shooter and you always expect that magazine to drop free like that. And that's the whole thing, is usually they do drop free. So they're used to that all the time. And whenever they can't get the mag out, it's no problem, but they're fumbling around like this, trying to get a new magazine in, rather than just being right here, taking, you know, it takes a little bit more time, yeah, so it's not going to be anything for your stopwatch. But taking your time and doing it the right way like this, pulling that magazine out and taking another one. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot better that way. Another thing is prematurely dropping a slide on an empty chamber. Okay? So what'll happen is somebody will push the magazine in right here, and before that they'll hit the stop slide release, and then the magazine goes in and you find out you're not chambered. Okay, so the best way to solve that problem, and remember this is an adrenaline filled situation here where you would probably do something like that, and it has happened with officers and stuff where they have done this a lot of times. They've hit that stop slide release before the mag was actually in. So the way to correct that problem, what you're going to do is you're going to take your support left hand, you're going to push that magazine in and seat it. Okay, you're going to seat that magazine. You're going to take your left thumb and come over here and hit that. You're going to hit that right here. Now what that does is that guarantees that that slide is going to drop on a round in the chamber. Why? Because I have to do two things with my left hand. I have to make sure that the mag is seated, then I have to take my thumb up and make sure I drop the slide. Okay, so if I drop my slide with my right thumb, if I try to drop the slide with my right thumb in an adrenaline-filled situation, thumbs forward grips, you know, a police officer or somebody might be like this. And what he's doing is he's getting ahead of himself, because adrenaline makes you do steps in the wrong order. So what he's going to do is he's going to hit that not knowing it. See, watch, he's going to hit that not knowing it. See? And now he fires and nothing happens. It's a, you know, nothing happens. And the thing is that even though the hammer came forward, there is no round in that chamber. Now I have to tap, rack, and remedy the situation. Whereas this way right here, it's much easier to take that left hand and go a two-step. You go 1, 2, I'm chambered. Every single time I'm chambered, okay? There is no guarantee that you're going to be chambered by letting your right thumb go ahead of your left hand, or your right thumb going ahead of your left thumb. So the thing is that rather than using this thumb right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left hand, I'm going to seat the magazine, make sure it's seated, and then my left thumb is going to come and go like this. I'm guaranteed every single time now that I'm chambered. Whereas this way, you're not guaranteed every single time. Once again, the problem is that the right hand is not going to wait for the left in an emergency adrenaline-filled situation. It's going to want to do this step first before doing this step. So you get the order confused, and that's what happens under stress and adrenaline. It's not going to happen as much in competition shooting and other types of drills and stuff like that. Why? Because even though you have a timer, that timer is not real stress, because what the timer is doing is it's performance anxiety. It's the anxiety of not beating your current time that you have. Okay? Defense stress is much different. You know, real gunfight stress is much different than a timer, because of the fact that it's a real situation, whereas a timer on the range, what you're doing is the stress you're creating isn't danger stress. It's performance anxiety stress, because you're trying to beat the new time, because you always want to get that time faster and faster, which means that in real life your mindset is going to think fast, 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 rather than doing things a little slower and doing it the right way. So if I'm lightning fast, okay, sure, I can do this really quick on the range, But in an adrenaline-filled situation, in a dangerous situation, what if I do something like this? Am I chambered? No. Okay? I'm not chambered. Whereas this way, it might be a little slower, okay? It might be a little slower, but it's going to save your... The slower method is going to save your life, and the fastest method is going to kill you. Okay? And we know this because thousands and thousands of police officers, it doesn't matter what kind of pistol it was, whether it was a Glock or a Beretta, it doesn't matter, or a SIG 320. They're always dropping the slide before the magazine is inserted because they're getting... The right hand is not going to wait for the left, okay? The right thumb is not going to wait for the left thumb. It's always going to want to be ahead. So if you have a grip like this all the time and you keep that thumb where it should be, then the left hand and left thumb have to do two functions separately. So I have to go 1, 2, and I'm chambered. I'm chambered every single time. And what that does is that eliminates all this nonsense about people doing press checks, you know. People are always doing these press checks. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You might want to do a press check if you're doing it the wrong way. You know what I mean? So you might want to do a press check. If you're doing it like this, where you push in expecting to hit this second, you might as well do a press check, okay? But there's no need to do a press check if you make sure that the left hand and left thumb seats the magazine, okay? And then that thumb comes up, drops the slide, and there we go. So, and I'm watching from an angle, that's why I did it slow, is because I'm watching through the top of my camera. So I'll show you what it looks like here. So it'll be like this, and you're ready. And notice that all I have to do is pivot. All I have to do is pivot now, like this, and I'm ready to go. Whereas going like something like this now I've got a problem with the slide stop, slide release, and I can hit that safety right here, that safety decocker. Or my thumb could be up here, stopping the slide from going forward or reverse. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys.